She's not what you'd expect. She's tough and feisty, but gentle and tender. She makes millions and gives millions to the poor. She cries, she laughs, she teaches, she comforts. This is the Dani Johnson Show.
Welcome to the Dani Johnson Show, where we help you define success for you. You know what? Everybody else out there has decided what success is supposed to look like for your life. But hey, here on the Dani Johnson Show, we are going to redefine that very word, that very life. You see, success is different for everybody. Now, and obviously, for most people, success has something to do with finances, right? I mean, what's success without money? I need money, Dani, to do the things I want to do. We're going to talk about money today. We're going to talk about your relationship with money. I want you to think about this for just 1 second, okay? You actually do have a relationship with money. You do. Let's define, what is your relationship with money? Think about that for a minute. Or could you be that person, for example, that has no idea that you have a relationship with money? And if you don't have a relationship with money, well, then chances are you're not treating money how you should be. So my relationship with money in my early days is that I was stupid with it. I abused it. Oh gosh, I only used it for my own personal pleasures. I used it for the power it gave me, man. The power to buy all of those diamonds, all of those clothes, those shoes. I don't even want to think about how many pairs of shoes I bought in my lifetime. I don't want to think about that right now. But I did have a relationship with money that was completely dysfunctional. And unfortunately, what I have found with the thousands of people that I've worked with through the years is that they also have a dysfunctional relationship with money. What defines dysfunctional and a dysfunctional relationship? Well, abuse, obviously, is dysfunctional. It is. But see, most of us don't know how we are supposed to treat money. You're like, Dani, this is disgusting. You're talking about money as though it's like a human being. Well, it's not, but you really do have a relationship with it. Let me prove it to you. Do you think about it all the time? Huh? Do you think about money all the time? Is money always in your brain? Do you have money in your heart? Whether that is worry, stress, fret, fear, anxiety. What about the fights you have about money with your spouse or your kids? What about the fights you have with your boss? What about this? You feel like you're not being paid enough, so now you've lost respect for the person that you're working with. Come on, think about it. Or that somebody else is making more, it makes you mad. So is that emotion of jealousy, even anger, are those part of the money equation with you? Aren't those all the same exact emotions we have when we had our first love? Come on, right? The first heart crush that we had in the 7th grade or the 4th grade, or who knows, whatever grade you were in when you had your first love, right? Those same emotions. That when it was not functional but dysfunctional, when it wasn't healthy, there's control involved, right? You want to control the money. You want to control every dollar. You want to control, make sure that no one's going to take any from you, especially the government. So you want to control how much the IRS is not going to get of your cash. So you do all these wild, weird things, you know, to try to avoid paying more taxes than you should. And I'm not saying that that's necessarily bad. But what is your, meaning I think it's wise, you're supposed to be wise with your money, but as far as controlling and thinking about it all the time and constantly checking your bank account, and do you know what I mean? Now, yes, you should be checking your bank account, and yes, you should be checking your bank statements, or maybe the dysfunctional relationship you have with money is you never, ever look at your bank statements, that you never, ever know where the money is going. You see, that's another form of dysfunction, which is neglect. That you don't even know how much you owe on your credit cards, right? You don't even know how much total debt that you actually have. This is the dysfunctional relationship, and it is acted out in the form of neglect. That you don't want to see the bills that are in the mailbox, right? You don't want to do that. Why? And again, this is neglect, which a neglectful relationship is dysfunctional. So I would say that most people out there in the world today have a dysfunctional relationship with money. And by the way, way, the only reason I can talk about this thing is because I've lived them all, my friend. I've lived them all. So just be encouraged, because you don't have to stay there. Because if you neglect the relationship with money, that you try to ignore the financial problems, you try to ignore how much debt you have, you try to ignore your financial responsibilities, then it ends up in what? A divorce. I will call that a bankruptcy. It'll end up in a bankruptcy. It'll end up burying you, tormenting you, nagging at you. Gosh, come on. We've all had the nagging bill collectors calling us, right? Or someone we've borrowed money from that is now nagging us for the money at the most inopportune time. We have felt that. But there is a way to have a functional relationship with money. There really is. There really, really is. And we're going to talk about that today. How can we get more wise with money and to not have it control our life, whether it's through neglecting it or thinking about it too much and talking about it too much, but coming into a healthy place concerning money. Money is a tool. Here's a really cool quote by Benjamin Franklin, pretty successful guy, rather influential. He's been dead for a long time, and we're still being influenced by this man. Money has never made man happy, nor will it ever. There is nothing in its nature to produce happiness. The more of it one has, the more one wants. He's pretty influential. The dead is talking to us right now through his quote. His words are still alive. It goes to show you how powerful words are. But it's true, isn't it? There's nothing in the nature of that piece of paper or that coin that can make us happy. It doesn't encourage us. It doesn't talk to us, right? No, but it can enslave us. And so today, I want to show you ways how you can have a healthy relationship concerning the money topic, concerning how we spend it, how we think of it. Because I found in my early days that the more I chased money, the more it ran from me. It was kind of like that ever-dangling orange carrot with the hairs coming out of it. Right? There it was. It was so close. It was just right there. It was like within arm's reach. It was in the reach of my teeth. I happen to like carrots. And it's right there, but I just can't seem to get it. Have you ever felt that way about money? I did too. And I'm telling you, I came to a place in my life where I was done. I remember reaching this place. It was actually in 1995 after a nervous breakdown. I was 25 years old and I had a nervous breakdown. Wow. I'm married. I got a couple kids and I am so stressed out about money. I almost take my own life. I thought about it constantly. I had a huge overhead. I had a company that had been embezzled. This is my second time being embezzled. So, of course, all of those depressive thoughts came over me, right? And the suicidal thoughts came over me. I just wanted to die. I didn't see any way out of fixing my financial problems. And then I came to this surrender place. There's something about surrendering. There is. I'm not talking about the white flag because you're weak. I'm talking about this, that I surrender. And who did I surrender to? I surrendered to God. I said, God, I don't care if I go broke. I don't care if I lose this company. I don't care if I'm the laughing stock of all of my friends. I don't care if Brian and Kristen and Jerry and Daryl and Michelle and all those people that are in my life that I love so much, and Jen, I don't care if they now go, we can't be your friend anymore because you don't make a lot of money. Somehow I got into my head that I would lose friends if somehow I didn't keep up my lifestyle, if somehow I didn't keep up my facade in all reality, because that's all I was. I was living a lie. I was miserable with my Mercedes. I was miserable with my $250,000 condo. I was miserable with my clothes and all my diamonds. I was miserable, totally miserable. And I didn't care. I'm like, I'm coming out. I'm coming out of this closet. My life sucks. There's something about that. There's something about just confessing the truth. My life sucks. I'm broke. I have so much debt. I don't know how I'm going to pay my bills. I don't know how I'm going to make payroll. I don't know how I'm going to help all of you put food on your table. I have no clue. Right now, I'm just trying to figure out how to get food on my table. There's just something about that day where I said, I don't care. I just don't care. I don't care if I have to declare bankruptcy. I just don't care. I'm done living this facade. I'm done worrying about money. I'm done thinking about it. Forget it. And I did. I surrendered. something powerful happened. You know what followed that? Opportunity came. It did. Opportunity came. I'll never forget, I just so happened that day walk into my counselor's office. Her name was Dr. LaVon Atnip. We've had her on this show before. And I sat down. It was October. Like, we're coming into the season right now. It's October 1995. And I sat down. I plopped down. You know, I just finished looking at the finances for my company. And, oh, gosh, there was anywhere near enough money. The IRS had been levying my accounts, right? I had a bookkeeper. They didn't pay the taxes, but instead paid whole self, the amount that was supposed to go to taxes. I got liens. Everything's a total disaster, my friend. A complete disaster. And what do we have? I just plopped down. I told her, man, I just give up. I surrender. Forget about it. This is not worth it. And I said to her, I said, there just has to be like somebody, some big, tall, white-haired guy that's been in the business for like 30 years that like sails in and buys my company. Relieve me from this pressure and this stress. And I'm working 100 hours a week. I feel like I'm going to die. And right away, man, she just said, you know what? Let's pray. What? She says, I could feel it. There's something on this. And sure enough, we prayed that day. It was in October. I'll never forget it. And do you know that not even a month later, I get a phone call from a friend of mine who was this tall, white-haired guy, had been in business for 33 years and had been running companies super successful. He started a new company. He sits down with me. He talks about it. He had mentored me for a couple of years. And then he says, Dani, he says, why don't you just go do what you're good at and let me take your company? And I'll do all the administrative stuff. I'll do all of that stuff that you hate. I'll take over your staff. I'll buy this thing off of you. It'll be great. You won't have to work that many hours anymore. And you go touch people's lives. You go change people's lives. You go teach the stuff that you're good at. You go train people to succeed. And I will go ahead and take over all this admin stuff. And I was like, what? So that's sometimes what follows surrender. When you get healthy in the place of money, and you stop obsessing over it, opportunity and answers seem to come your way. So, in this first segment of the Dani Johnson Show, there's one tip you can use. Quit allowing money to beat you. Quit being abusive with money, meaning spending, overspending, which then it incurs this debt. Then you want to neglect the debt. You want to run. You want to hide. This is a dysfunctional relationship as though it was with a human being. Surrender. And opportunity and solutions will come your way. This is Dani Johnson. We're going to take your call in this next segment, handling the financial issues and your relationship with it right after this.
Helping people just like you make life more enjoyable and rewarding. The Dani Johnson Show.
More resources, more training, more results. The DaniJohnson.com Insider Membership is your ultimate success shortcut. Get exclusive access to reports, videos, audios, ebooks, cheat sheets, and other training for your personal and professional life. This is truly DaniJohnson.com's best kept secret. Become an Insider member today and get on the fast track to success.
Imagine living in a decrepit, unsafe hovel made of waste material on top of old mining tunnels that could explode and sink your home at any moment. Imagine no water to drink, no safe place to raise your children, no food for your starving baby. Imagine that your kids can't learn to read because they have to work to support the family instead of going to school. Could you imagine living in that kind of fear and hopelessness? This is exactly what families are dealing with in the poverty-stricken village of Santa Pancha, Nicaragua. These families can barely meet their basic food, water, and housing needs. We are transforming that village. Be a part of this miracle. I want you to go to the website now and learn how you can help. Go to kingsransom.org and click on Santa Pancha. There you can join with other warriors against poverty and help bring a miraculous transformation to Santa Pancha. That's kingsransom.org, kingsransom.org.
Did you know you can take the Dani Johnson Show with you wherever you go? It's never been easier to stay up to date with the latest content from Dani with the DaniJohnson.com app. Watch or listen in the car, at the gym, or on the go. Download it now from the App Store and Google Play and never miss a show again. Your family, business, and bank account will thank you. And now, back to the Dani Johnson Show.
Dani, you're ridiculous. This is ridiculous. I have a relationship with money. How stupid is that? You really do, friend. You really do. I do. You do. Everybody does. You really do. Think about it all the time. Want more of it? Come on now. Either it's abusive to you or you're abusive to it. Either you're neglecting it. I want to show you how to have a functional relationship with money, but we got to go here. Where did this relationship with money come from? It came from your childhood. It came from who around you, how they responded, what their relationship was with money, whether it was neglectful or obsessive or balanced, like good and healthy relationship about money. So I want you to think about this. What were some of the things you learned about money when you were young? And we're going to see that, wow, there seems to be a pattern that you might be carrying some of those lessons that you learned along with you today, good, bad, or indifferent. But we're going to identify what those are so we can find really good, helpful solutions to money problems today that can change and bring you to a healthy place concerning this thing, this greenback that we have in our back pocket that pretty much is worth nothing anymore because they just keep printing money. But here's the question. What did you learn about money when you were growing up? And who taught you? What was their relationship with money? And how has that lesson that you learned, how has it helped you or how has it hurt you? And this way, together, we're going to learn with each other. Because what's going to happen? We're going to hear these different stories, hear these different comments, and then draw from it. Oh, I'm doing that. I probably need to change that. And I might be able to give you some advice in the financial area that can really help to improve those finances, as we have given to hundreds of thousands of people all over the world and have seen their finances completely healed, restored, completely come out of the bondage of debt and slavery to it, and live a more healthier, happy, joyful life. Isn't that what we're all after? No question. Helen from Scotland. Yay! Welcome to the show.
Hi. Well, what I learned, Dani, was from my mum. She ran up catalogues and she had overdrafts and always stressed about money. Yeah. It was one thing in my childhood that I remember very clearly was my mum being stressed always about money, never having enough, just use catalogues, need to back, seeing a lot of people like my mum being so upset and other family members upset in the family because she was always so stressed. On the other hand, my father was a man who was a giver. He was always giving, and he taught me a lot of principles about giving and told me that was the key that would get me somewhere in life. And I wondered what he meant by that as a child. And unfortunately, I followed my mother's footsteps by getting catalogues, getting stressed. I basically duplicated my mother's behaviour. But it wasn't until, Dani, I came to First Steps to Success in January that I really took a big turnaround about my finances, and I took on War on Debt. Yeah. And I listened to what your teachings were about, personal debt. Let's address your personal debt. Let's look at your car. Let's look at your mortgage. Yes. And basically, that's our aim. We want to get these debts right down. And War on Debt, I can't emphasize enough to anybody listening out there, War on Debt is the thing to get. Dani Johnson has got it there. It is just a gold mine of stuff. And I have saved so much money just by listening to what she said, going with the guidance. Fantastic. Wow.
So Helen, how awesome. And here it is proof, right? You picked up from mom debt. You picked up from mom speaking bad about money, right? She's stressed about it, right? How did that make you feel as a kid? Because there's a mom right now driving down the road, listening to you and I, and she probably just finished having a conversation on the phone with her girlfriend, talking about how they don't have any money and her husband isn't making enough and things are so hard and so tough. And the kids are hearing this just as you heard it when you would hear your mother talk to her girlfriends. How did that make you feel as a kid?
Well, basically, as a child, I just felt scared, and I actually hated money. Yep. I hated it. I just thought, oh, this stuff's evil.
Yes.
It's just not nice.
Isn't that wild? So, I mean, and again, we talk about money as though the money is the abuser of us. It's neglecting us. It's not providing enough for us, right? And so it's an unhealthy place. But the sad part is that now we impart that into the kid. It was imparted into you. How much debt did you end up incurring as a direct result of this dysfunctional relationship with money that you picked up with from mom?
Well, it ended up I was £10,000 in debt, and I had to sell my flat in order to get that
out of debt.
sorted out.
Yeah. I'm proud of you, girl. I'm so proud of you that you've been paying attention. I'm so proud of you that you're a war on debt soldier. This is Dani Johnson. We'll continue with more after this.
Did you hear that last segment? Do you know someone else who needs to hear it? Go to DaniJohnson.com, find today's show, and share it online.
I just heard this amazing story. One of our clients had written us telling us that they had used job domination and unlimited success and has absolutely exploded their career. He said, Dani, I don't know where I'd be today without job domination and unlimited success. Listen, do you want more recognition from your coworkers? Do you want to be recommended to people all over the world? Do you want to be somebody that is highly sought after? Listen, if you're in a dead-end place where this gentleman found himself, but then learned new strategies and changed everything in his work life, and obviously this has resulted in higher bonuses and pay raises, you're next. 888-757-8880. Get your copy of Job Domination right now. 888-757-8880. Again, 888-757-8880. Job domination. That's what you need. It's time for you to dominate the job market and break through the rut that you're in. I'm so blessed that I found what is in Grooming the Next Generation for Success. This is a book that is being taught in universities around the world. It's been noted as the best book on parenting that has ever been written. Crazy, if you ask me. But the point is that this thing gets results. Get your copy today, 888-757-8880. Again, that's 888-757-8880. Or go to DaniJohnson.com. That's DANI Johnson.com. Get your copy today.
We're back. Here's Dani Johnson.
Are you being abused by money? Has money sucked you in the face, broke your nose, blood splattering everywhere? Dani, what are you talking about? Man, girl, I think you're weird, but now you've totally crossed the line. If you think I'm weird, why are you still here? Hey, no, seriously. The way I hear people talk about money, the way I used to talk about money, was as though it was a physical person who was beating me up, right? Seriously, you know, when we were kids, I remember hearing my parents talk about money as though it was a physical person who was beating the snot out of them. When all reality, it was their own poor choices. Yes, their own poor choices that was beating the snot out of them. What do I mean by that? Well, they bought drugs with the welfare money. Hello? Of course we're not going to have enough food. Of course some things are going to be tight if you were buying a luxury called drugs. Luxury? Drugs? What are you talking about? Yes, that shouldn't be in your family budget. That's not the bare necessities need to survive. No, Dani, I need my weed. That's how my parents thought. But here's the facts. That would be a luxury. But they would. You know, when you hear parents talk about money as, we just don't have enough. We never have enough. We're always broke, right? It literally, that's a dysfunctional relationship with money. We have got to change that relationship that we have with money, how we think about it, how we talk about it, how we abuse it ourselves. We abuse money by spending more than we need to be spending, living above our means. We are abusing that money, and then that money then punches us back, kicks us back, socks us back, gets us in the groin, gets us in the stomach, gets us back. It all starts with what we did. Doesn't start with what they did. It starts with what we did. So what were some things that you picked up along the way as a child from mom and dad, their relationship that they had with money? What did they teach you concerning money? How did that equate into your adult life? 844-200-3264 is our number. Again, that's 844-200-3264. We're going to the phones. We got line 5, Canada. Nikita, welcome to the show.
Thank you. So my mom and dad actually never even talked about money.
So it's the neglectful. It's the neglect relationship. Dysfunctional in that it doesn't exist. Right? Imagine a person in our lives and they live with us, right? They're around us 24/7, but we never talk about them.
Yeah. And then, so all I had was their behaviors to watch.
Yeah.
And my dad would, he had good money management. He would save and pay for something in cash, but he was extremely secretive about it. So I didn't know until I became an adult that he was actually saving for what he wanted, like a flat screen TV or something. But my mom, she was credit card. She was entitled, and it was like, if I want it, I should have it. So she would just go to the store, and if there was extra credit on her credit card, she would use it on whatever she wanted.
Wow. So look at that, Nikita, because I want to address both of those things. So one is secretive, the other was entitled. Now, if we were to equate this to a physical person, right? And if there was a relationship with somebody in your life and they felt entitled to give you whatever you want, when you want it, tell me, how healthy is that relationship?
Not at all.
Not at all. What ends up happening in those types of relationships, right? So if I was abusive in that way, because that's really what that is, Nikita, you are my friend and you owe me. I want that dress. You're going to give it to me now. I deserve it. I work hard. It should be mine. Give me the money now. How long are you going to stay around me?
I don't think for very long.
No. And do you think at some point you might fight back?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, that's the 18.9%. That's the 18.9% that slaps you up the head silly at the end of the month when you get your bill for the dress you just bought. Yeah. Bottom line, man, we really do have relationships with money. And if we are entitled, it punches us back. Either that or it runs from us. It runs from us. It doesn't want to be abused in that way anymore, so it stays far away from us. Or if we are secretive with it, right? Then gosh, what does that do as a kid? You don't know you're supposed to be saving money. Who in the world was supposed to teach you that you're supposed to save money? The school? No. So then what does that do? Secrets are hidden. They're hidden. So therefore, you didn't learn the value of saving. You didn't learn that the kind of relationship, the healthy kind of relationship that you should have with money because everything was in secret. So what do we end up doing? We make costly mistakes because of secrets that are kept, things that are unknown. We aren't benefiting if they were good, you know what I mean? Or bad for that matter, right? We've been parents that have shared our financial failures, our physical, spiritual, emotional, verbal failures. We've shared those failures with our kids, our bad choices that we made as young people. We've shared those kind of things with our kids. And why? To prepare them not to make the same mistakes that we made so that they can learn from our mistakes. Some have chosen to go in the same direction. Some have chosen to stay far away from the consequences in which my husband and I have had to suffer because of that. So anyway, thanks so much for sharing. So let me ask you, Nikita, which direction did you go? Entitled or secret?
I'm trying to fight the entitled, but it's really hard. Like when you grow up and nothing was ever held from you. You never learned the value of saving for yourself, so it was always just given to you.
Yeah.
So now it's like, as an adult and a married mom of almost 2, it's like, how do I manage my money properly?
Yeah.
To stop going down the entitled route.
Mm-hmm. Well, you tell me. You've gone down the entitled route, right?
Yeah.
How does it feel?
Yeah. It's downright slavery.
Yeah.
Not even, it's like we went into debt for our wedding, so.
How much? How much?
And a car, about $60,000.
Oh!
And so we surrendered our car, and we're slowly climbing our way out of the debt, but it's like when we were dating, we weren't in debt, so we were 2 totally different people. And then all of a sudden, bam, on wedding day, we were 2 totally different people. So we've had to completely rebuild a totally different relationship that's pretty much just started off in bondage.
Wow.
Hard.
All for one day.
Yeah, all for one day.
Wow. And years later, you're still paying for it.
Yeah.
What do you say to that couple that's engaged right now, Nikita?
Oh, please don't go into debt.
Yes.
Just use the cash you have and go down to City Hall if that's all you can afford.
Yes. Yes. Tell me, how would you feel if that's what you had done?
We'd be free.
Yes.
We wouldn't be crying that we couldn't go on dates every week. We wouldn't be concerned that we can't, like, he can't buy me flowers because it just seems like a waste of money these days. It's like, oh, we've got so much debt. Why are we paying $20 for a bouquet of flowers? When in actuality, I probably would love that.
Yeah.
You know, so it's like, oh, if I could go back and give myself advice, I wouldn't step near debt at all.
Yeah. Yeah. Wow. Okay, so climbing out of this debt. Okay, now here's a tip. Now, I understand your husband's making the choice not to buy flowers. He wants to buy you flowers, but he also wants to pay off this debt, right? Mm-hmm. Making a card, drawing pictures, writing beautiful, loving words are so much more powerful than $20 on a bouquet of flowers. He could literally put 12 little pieces of paper, right, and write 12 beautiful things. See, that is so much more meaningful than the 20. Because you know, if you would have got the flowers, you're like, but honey, we have this debt. You know what I mean? So it's like a bittersweet if he does buy you that thing. You know what I mean? It's a bittersweet. It's like, oh, thank you. Oh, that's so sweet. But we could have put that towards MasterCard. We could have put that to that stupid wedding we had. Anyway. But things like that are just so much more important. We've been conditioned in today's world to buy in order to make people feel loved. That buying does not make people feel loved. It's the heart, it's the time that is behind it. And so if we could, I'd much rather hear the words, the encouragement written down on something, or the time spent, the loves, the hugs, the eyeball to eyeball, the mouth to mouth. I'd much rather have that than if I was suffering in the debt that you, and as I was before, suffering under that horrific debt and that slavery of it and having no way to pay it. Those words are so much more life-giving. Thank you so much, Nikita, for sharing that story. And I love it. Yes, people do have entitlement with money. And entitlement, people, you know, if you've got someone entitled in your life, you get tired of it eventually. And it starts to fight back. And when it comes to money, the way your entitlement is fighting back is with your debt. It's punching you in the face. It's tormenting you at night. You, my friend, need to get free from that entitlement so that you can punch back, annihilate that debt, and live as a free person. This is Dani Johnson. We'll continue with more right after this.
Be sure to tell a friend about the Dani Johnson Show. It just might be the key to the breakthrough they need.
This is your chance. This is your shot. Get your copy of War on Debt right now. There's one waiting for you that has your family's name on it. And inside that package is freedom. Your freedom, your family's freedom is on the inside of that package. All you have to do is open it up, press play, and start applying what I teach you in this program. 888-757-8880. You and I are going to help your family become completely debt-free in the next 5 to 7 years. Just imagine how that's going to feel.
Did you know you can see Dani Johnson live and in person? Go to DaniJohnson.com and find out about our next live event. First steps to success, register today. Call 866-760-8255 or go to DaniJohnson.com/FSTS.
You would think this would get easier. It doesn't. My name is Mia, and this is my awesome husband, Tony Gray. We're both from Maryland. Prior to plugging into DaniJohnson.com, we were beyond a mess. Probably an earthquake would be a better description. We were very young and married in high school. I was pregnant at 13. I was abandoned, abused, often turned to drugs and alcohol. And we just didn't know what to do. We knew how to put on a facade and come out before people. We worked long hours. He was never, ever home. And he was losing relationships with me and the kids. We were at the divorce attorney, ready just to quit. We didn't know a way out, and our debt, we just hung ourselves, it seems, every day, just going to work, spending, and then there was debt. We didn't know what to do. But after filing bankruptcy twice, you would think, well, you know what to do then. Well, we didn't. We kept making stupid decisions. And we were really just ready to quit. We were ready to give up. And we didn't see that there was any hope. I was actually depressed a whole lot. And since we got married so young, we wanted to be like the rest of our family and be divorced, because we were the only ones that were married for a long period of time. We lost several kids, but God blessed us with that. And after plugging in with DaniJohnson.com, life changed forevermore.
It's funny, I heard Dani say, talked about Donald Trump, and that was my way of life. He did it. He was a multi-millionaire. He filed bankruptcy multiple times, but I knew that wasn't the answer. I was working more hours, had a six-figure income, and found we were in more debt. But since plugging into War in Debt, in 36 months, we paid off $126,000. To me, it's all about giving back. And my wife has the biggest heart that I know, so it was her mission to not only get the information for us, but to share it in our community. So we had hundreds of people come to classes, but we had 92 people take action. And of those 92 people, in 34 months, they paid off $3.6 million.
Our marriage has been fully restored. Our children are absolutely amazing. They all own their own businesses. We raise 6 amazing kids every single day. And I can't tell you, without the DJU curriculum, without all of the products, we came at the beginning and we were piecemealing it, but that didn't work for us. You know how Dani says when you get the recipe, you need to get all the ingredients and not try to figure out, should I get the egg, should I get the milk? You just get it all and you follow directions. We follow directions and our life has changed forevermore, and we won't go back, we're just going ahead. So without further ado, help us bring back to the stage America's favorite millionaire, Miss Dani Johnson.
Improving the quality of your life. The Dani Johnson Show.
I love it.
I just read something that gave me this cute little chuckle. Okay, listen. It's this. Too many people spend money they earned to buy things they don't want to impress people they don't like. That was Real Rogers that said that cowboy. Did you hear that? Isn't that true? Can you believe that we do things like that? Stop! Stop doing that! Buying things you don't want to impress people you don't like. That is stupid. It is. Dani, you just called me stupid. Come on, I'm stupid too. I've done the same thing. And when you look back at your closet, you look back at your garage or your storage unit on your property or the storage unit down the street that has all this junk in it, and you look back at the reason why you bought it. What did I ever need this for? Why did I ever purchase this stupid thing? Or better yet, you got a whole cabinet full of mugs that people have bought you. Why do I have these? Why did anyone ever waste their money on another mug for me? How many mugs do we need? OMG. How many mugs do we need? Gosh, I don't even drink coffee. People buy me mugs. Here's one. Not with coffee in it, it's got water. Okay, anyway. But we buy things we don't want. We work hard for the money. We buy things we don't want to impress people we don't like. Stop that today. Be done with that habit. All right, we're talking about that relationship we have with money, and right there, that's a dysfunctional relationship with money right there. Buying things we don't want. Dysfunctional relationship with money. To impress people we don't like. Total dysfunctional relationship with money. It's time to come into healthy. Healthy means you're gaining knowledge and wisdom, being wise. Not purchasing things that are stupid. All right. So what did you learn about money? We've got Earon from Aberdeen, South Dakota. Welcome to the Dani Johnson Show.
Hi. I grew up being raised by my grandparents about 50% of the time because my parents divorced when I was 5. And I actually got a really good education through that. And my mother is fantastic with managing money. My grandparents lived through the Depression, and they if they didn't grow it or kill it, chances are we didn't eat it. So,
squirrels included?
Right, well, yeah, I guess so. My grandparents built every house they ever lived in.
Yeah.
I remember having to build a fire in the cooktop stove in order to help Grandma get breakfast going. She canned their food for the winter. She baked her own bread. She used a washing machine that had a roller on the back and an oven at the top. For until I was like 12. I mean, and I graduated in '99. I'm 33 years old today. So
wow.
We didn't live in Alaska. We weren't backwoods, weird people. It's just we used what we had, and we didn't waste money. Unfortunately, that didn't carry over for me.
But hold on a second, Earon, because I want to ask you about this. I want to pause right here. I know that you then and you were foolish with money. But tell me, because I could hear it in your voice, like, why did I do that? Okay, so tell me, Earon, what was that like growing up and seeing Grandma work like that?
I loved it.
Isn't it amazing?
Today I do a lot of that myself, and some people look at me kind of cockeyed and half, I don't know, half-baked or something. They think I'm weird, but it's like, what? I'm weird for saving $500 a month for doing this myself.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. But there's like this incredible value, and you know what it is? It's excellence. Grandma taught you excellence. She taught you self-reliance. Not self-reliance in a bad way, but to not be dependent on things and not bring value to conveniences. But she worked hard, and there's nothing like the feeling of working hard. There's nothing like that feeling. And yet we live in a culture that looks for everything that's cheap, easy, and fast. But cheap, easy, and fast does not necessarily mean great value. Do you know what I mean? Or even having that satisfaction of, I worked hard, I did good today. Okay, so then after this, you got stupid. Why did you swallow the stupid pill? What'd you do that for?
Because I thought it was normal. Cheap, easy, and fast means cheap culture. Yeah. And if when you grow up, you're young, you get out into the world. My grandparents and my mom did the best they could, but they didn't teach me how to do what they were doing. Mm-hmm. And it's not their fault. I was at the age where I could say, hey, how do you do this?
That's true.
And I just didn't. And so I went to college, and naturally they have money sharks there. They're trying to get you to sign up for credit cards, and that was the first thing I did. And
did you ever ask your mom or your grandparents if you should get a credit card?
No, because I was of age.
So of course not. Of course I'm not going to ask for financial advice from people that manage to save money and work hard. No, I'm 18. I'm making my own decisions, and everyone else is doing it, so why not? Doesn't that stink?
Exactly.
They
did help me buy my own car, but we're at a place today. We're $124,000 in debt, but I'm determined to get out of that in 18 months or less.
Yes.
I know we will, because I have all of this background, this foundation that's fantastic, and I just have to tear everything else down that's crap.
Yep. So what would you say is some of the crap? What's some of the crap that you've accumulated through the years that has put you $127,000 in debt?
Honestly, my biggest regret is, aside from credit cards, I just think those are stupid anyway, but aside from that, is student loans. Mm-hmm. To be honest with you, I got this education. I have a associate's degree in IT. It is useless. I'm a homeschool mom, and I don't use it at all. It is a worthless $32,000 that I spent, and I'll never do that again.
Okay, now hold on one second. Let me ask you this question. Now, how would have Grandma had done the going to school thing? How would she have done it?
My grandparents would not have done that. They would have used the experience that they had, and they would have worked within the boundaries that they already had.
Okay, but let's just say that they wanted an IT degree. Do you think they would have gotten student loans, or how do you think they would have done it?
No, they would have paid for it out of their own pocket.
Whether that meant getting a second job, right, and going to school at the same time, working full time as the time of going to school, right? You see, their generation was not afraid of hard work, and if they wanted something, they worked for it versus biting the carrot of here, get it now, pay later. And so that's the difference in the mindset. So I believe that if grandma or grandpa wanted that IT degree, they would have worked their bones to blood to get that degree. Now, do you think they would have used the degree if they had worked it like that?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah, honey. A lot of the reason why kids don't use their degrees is because they didn't pay for it.
Yeah.
They have a debt.
Or they don't
they have a debt for it. Well, and look, but they have a debt for it. So tell me, how does the debt feel for the education you got? Is it positive or negative?
It's absolutely negative. It's very oppressive.
So then why in the world do you want to use the degree that's oppressive?
No.
Do you see what I'm saying? It's oppressive. It's awful. You feel so bad that you got this $32,000 worth of a giant monkey that's just, sucking the life out of your lungs before you even take a breath in the morning. And, oh, yeah, so I'm going to go work in the field that I have this terrible, painful experience from? A lot of people don't. And I believe that's part of the reason is because it's painful. The degree represents pain, suffering, suffocating, drowning, being beaten up by that sucker. And that's why people don't use it. But here you are, and you're now saying, we're $127,000 in debt. How do you plan on paying that debt off?
We're going to work for it.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
We're going to work for it.
And number one, you said you have a goal. You have a goal. You have a plan. That's what it takes. Yep. That's what it takes.
Part of that plan is War on Debt, and I'm so thankful that you've put that program together because that's what brought me back to my roots, and I'm just so thankful that I've been awakened, I guess, because I've been asleep, lulled to sleep by all these other
conveniences.
Yes, I guess.
Things that your grandma never needed, and they lived a happy life. God, can you just smell her bread right now?
Yeah.
Can you smell the apple pie? Yeah. Can you just smell the garden vegetables that came out of the garden, and there they are on the counter, about to be turned into something amazing? See, that's life, man. That to me is amazing success. It really is. That is absolute amazing success. So War on Debt is your plan. And you know what? I'm really proud of you. I really am, Earon, because here's the facts. Without a plan, we fail. Without a plan, we fail. And if we fail to plan, we fail. And so most people don't know how to come up with a plan. Like, how do I pay off my debt? Listen, I got a plan. I learned this plan. I learned this plan the hard way. And I'm telling you, gosh, there's no feeling. Like when you get War on Debt and you begin to listen to it, it completely changes your mindset on your debt. And now that thing that's been suffocating you, you're now going to suck the life out of it. And you're going to go and you're going to learn some skills that absolutely empower you. You feel like the king on the mountaintop, man, going, I got this deal. And you heard her. The plan is 18 months and they'll be completely debt free. They've gone through that plan like, done. No problem. No more oppression. And every single time you're attacking and annihilating the debt, you feel like a warrior, man. You do. You feel like, yes, I got this sucker. So exciting. That's how I felt. That's how you're going to feel. That's how Earon feels. This is Dani Johnson. We'll continue with more right after this.
Stay tuned to The Dani Johnson Show. There's more to come.
The whole story of how I went from homeless to millions is right here in this book, First Steps to Wealth. I'd love to give you a free copy of this book. Just dial 888-757-8880. You can get your free copy of this book. It's like a real book, my friend. You can get an ebook copy for free right now, or if you'd like to pay the shipping to get this $15 book to your house, I'd be happy to send it to you. 888-757-8880. Get your copy of First Steps to Wealth today and begin on a brand new path of some great success.
More resources, more training, more results. The DaniJohnson.com Insider Membership is your ultimate success shortcut. Get exclusive access to reports, videos, audios, ebooks, cheat sheets, and other training for your personal and professional life. This is truly DaniJohnson.com's best kept secret. Become an Insider member today and get on the fast track to success.
For families in Santa Pancha, Nicaragua, life is filled with fear and struggle. They don't have enough food for their kids, clean water is hard to find, and they're living in a decrepit, unsafe hovel on top of mining tunnels that could explode and sink at any moment. But a miracle is in the making, and you can be a part of transforming this village. Go to kingsransom.org and click on Santa Pancha to see how you can help. That's kingsransom.org. kingsransom.org and click on Santa Pancha.
Put the Dani Johnson Show to work for you by advertising your product or service. The Dani Johnson Show has tens of thousands of listeners who are just like you. People who need what you're offering but just don't know it yet. Savvy business owners and marketing directors advertise on The Dani Johnson Show. To promote your products and services on The Dani Johnson Show, email john@danijohnson.com or call 866-760-8255.
We're back. Here's Dani Johnson.
Imagine your perfect financial situation. Imagine it. Because if you can't picture it, you'll never get to it. You won't get to it. You see, if our personal relationship with money is neglect, we're ignoring it. We're trying not to think about it. We're trying to pretend like the problem isn't there. It's the gigantic purple elephant in the room, but we don't see him. I'm not looking over there, but you know it's there. It's nagging at you, right? It's nagging. You could smell it. Ugh, disgusting. Speaking of which, I remember going to the circus when I was 9 years old, and the elephant just stopped right in the middle of the show, and you know what he did? It was disgusting. I will never forget that smell. I will never forget that smell. Nor will I forget the smell, the putrid smell of my debt, and how much shame I carried because of it. It wasn't until we made that decision, we surrendered. We're like, done, finished. Gosh, we're finished with this way of living. This is stupid. It's beating us up. It's time to fight back. And we did. And I will never forget the beautiful aroma of annihilating $100,000 worth of debt within just a few months. By what? Selling a house we should have never bought. Yeah. And taking the amount that we made on that house and, canceling the credit card debt, canceling the cars that were financed. We just wrote the checks and wrote it all off. Bam! Goodbye. Man, it was empowering. It was really empowering. But it wasn't until we got a financial vision that we said, we don't want to live like this anymore. We want to have low expenses, live in a small house, live with, a house that doesn't have a $500 a month electric bill. Lord have mercy. All of these things, these gadgets, these things that we buy, and all these rooms that we have that are just filled with more junk, just adds more and more pressure. But man, when you come to that place, you're like, sell it all. I'm done with this. Oh, that's just so freeing. Seriously, it's like I remember sitting out in my little house now and stepping out on the back porch and wow, smelling the grass versus the big giant house that I had on top of the hill that had 1,000 flowers. I could not smell those flowers. All I could see is the dying ones. That's all I could see is the rose bushes that I needed to trim. I didn't enjoy because of all the debt, almost $1 million worth of debt that we had hanging over our heads, right? Gosh. But man, when you get out from under that and you get out from under the pressure, whew, you can smell flowers. You can smell your husband's scent. You can smell the dirty diaper in your kids' pants versus the stress that is just suffocating. All right, we're talking about what we learned as a kid, our financial dysfunctional relationship, and how do we come out and get healthy? How do we cross over? Christy from Vancouver. Tell me about how were your parents? What was the financial education you got that then built your belief system, and what was the result?
Well, my parents kept money a secret. Mm-hmm. I didn't even know how much my dad made, and there was no talk of budgeting or bill paying or anything.
Where did they expect for you to learn how to do those things?
I have not the slightest idea. And then my dad was out of work for 2 years, wow. So we had no money.
Wow.
We're soup kitchen eating as well as a whole host of other things. And
how did that feel as a child growing up in that situation?
Oh, well, that situation I swore I'd never allow my children to experience.
Why?
Fortunately, not having been taught anything about money,
right?
That plan didn't work out so well.
Isn't that funny? But let's go back. I want you to tell me how it felt. I know the decision you made that I would never do this to my kids, but why? Why did you make that decision?
Well, it's even as a kid, it's shameful. You look at the other kids that you go to school with that can afford the new clothes and I was wearing my brother's hand-me-downs, and they're having Christmas, and we're eating in a gym.
Yeah. How did that feel, having Christmas in that gym?
It was tough. You're thankful that there's turkey, but it's also very demoralizing.
Yeah. You were embarrassed?
Embarrassed and shamed, but I didn't understand because money wasn't talked about.
Yeah. So money was kind of like that secret evil thing.
Mm-hmm.
Because money hurts your family by not having it.
I once asked my dad, and he yelled at me and said, "We don't talk about money, and you don't need to know how much I make."
So then what did that produce in your life as you got on your own and went after your own life?
Well, it's a love-hate relationship, right? It's a lot of avoidance until you can't avoid it, and then you go and you look at your bank account and you try and figure out how you're going to pay all your bills, and you see where Peter is. So you can borrow from Peter to pay Paul.
So let me ask you this. Are you having the same, in that moment, right? You ignore the money. It's the secret thing, right? It's the secret evil. We're not going to talk about it. We're not going to pay attention to it. Again, that's a dysfunctional relationship with money. We've all had it. It is. It's totally dysfunctional. If we ignore somebody in our life, it's eventually going to hit us over the head, or it's going to run away from us, and that's what money does. It hits us over our head with debt, or it completely leaves. That's what happens with the ignoring money relationship. So tell me, as an adult, right? And again, you've ignored money. I'm not going to look at my bank account. I don't want to know. I don't want to know how much I owe. Did you have that same manifestation as that little girl that was in the gym?
Except now it's fear as well.
Yeah. Well, I'm pretty sure you probably had fear in the gym, that you were afraid that any of your friends from school, that someone that knew you might see you there.
True. You just probably don't recognize it as fear right away. But
yeah. More than likely, you were looking around hoping that you would not know anybody.
No one was there.
Yep.
No one would. Yep. Because we were pretty much, soup kitchen fed for that Christmas.
Yep. Yep. So fear. Tell me how that feels concerning money.
Well, that's the avoidance piece. It's too scary to look at.
Yeah.
So you avoid and hope it's going to go away. Of course it doesn't, and then the phone calls start coming, and the door knocking starts to come, and then you're placed in a position where you have to face it.
Yeah.
So you take a deep breath, you go into the bank account, you figure out, like you said, where's Paul, because you need to borrow from Paul to pay Peter.
Yeah.
Kind of get it managed for that month, and then go back into it's scary, I'm going to hide again.
So where are you today concerning finances?
Well, this year's been a rough year. At the beginning of the year, my entire house burnt to the ground, and we didn't have any house insurance. We lost everything.
Oh, my gosh.
So it's been a year of trying to get back on our feet. We've been... we have to replace everything, but my current husband's job doesn't pay enough to manage the household bills, so I've now picked up 3 jobs with a 4-month-old baby and a 19 and a 16 and a 12-year-old other child.
Wow.
So now it's just about scrambling to try and get back kind of on our feet again this year.
Yeah. Let me ask you this. Do you really need to replace everything that was in the house?
And no. Well,
exactly.
And no, and we're not.
Exactly. Because you find I didn't need all that stuff. I probably should have not bought a lot of those things. And imagine the money we would have had in the account if I hadn't bought those things, right?
Yeah.
There's so much, right? So much of clothes, so much of food, so much of gadgets, so much of so much. You know what I mean? That when we look back, when we've lost everything, and again, that's called a reset, honey. It's just a reset. And now you get to make new financial decisions moving forward of what is important and what's not. And therefore, you'll have a completely different outcome this time around, so that you don't end up where you don't want to be, but you go exactly where you want to go. This is Dani Johnson. Thanks so much for joining us today. We'll talk to you tomorrow again with another important topic to help you redefine success.
Did you hear that last segment? Do you know someone else who needs to hear it? Go to DaniJohnson.com, find today's show, and share it online. This has been The Dani Johnson Show. Join us every weekday at 7 a.m. for more insights that will help you get to the life you've always wanted.